Hello and welcome to episode 47 of Generations Apart. I'm Robbie.
And I'm Jay.
And on today's episode, we are revisiting tech gimmicks. As it is close to Christmas, we are focusing on Christmas tech gifts this episode. We'll give our take on a selection of products and decide if it's a gift or a gimmick. Before we get into that, though, Jay, what's new with you this week?
Well, I'm slightly disappointed in all the build-up, Robbie, to the episode recording. You haven't commented, but I wanted to talk about a new purchase this week, something that is pushing me further and further towards the streamers that the kids are today. I recently added to my background, and it is right here, for those watching on YouTube. But you also have the link to the product, something called the Govee Glide Hexa light panels. I've been looking at products like this or similar now for a couple of years when they started appearing in various YouTubers' backgrounds. I think the more popular product to start and quite expensive product was something called the Nano Leaf.
Yes, I've
and
heard
what they
those.
are basically, you've heard them. They're think triangular.
Yes.
Whereas Govee have gone for hexagons because that makes them different. But what it is basically is a modular LED lighting system that you can build in or buy in various pack sizes and then build out and control with apps to create all sorts of fun patterns and shapes and lighting for your backgrounds. I had a little move around this week, which meant that my camera had shifted a little bit, and I'd got this very uninteresting white cabinet behind me. And I thought, hey, what a great surface to do something fun with and to make my background more interesting. So I ordered some of these panels. I literally only got them yesterday, so they went up this morning. Really interesting, really easy to do. So the app, once you've paired it with the lights, basically lets you choose on the app your layout. So it guides you on how to assemble the panels as you want them. So on the back of each panel are effectively 6 different connectors going out in different directions, on each of the flat edges effectively of the hexagon. You lay out the pattern that you want on the app, and then it guides you panel by panel, tells you which slots to put the connecting cables into, and then you stick them to your wall to build the design that you want. They I have to say, so Govee they're on the more affordable side of the kind of RGB sphere of various lighting crap you can get for your office or your home. They do some really good LED strips. They're a much cheaper version.
I've got some Govee ones. Yeah. Apparently, I think they've got voice activation in them. I've never used it.
Yeah, so these can do all sorts of stuff. So this will do synchronize to music. There's a whole load of pre-built themes and things that you can do with them. I've got a nice kind of pulsing multicolor thing going on in the background now. I could set it to disco lights. I can have it based on a certain mood.
Sunrise and all that stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, you can do like night light, sunrise. There's loads of stuff in there, pretty typical of these kind of lights now, and very kind of akin to the Philips Hue kind of library of supporting scenes and things you can do. But as I said, I'd been looking at them for a while. I had this bit of space when I'd moved my desk around, and I thought, great, that'll make a nice background for my videos, for the podcast, for work calls, etc. And that's it. So they've been there the whole time, the last hour while we've been prepping to record.
Can't believe I never noticed.
Never once mentioned them. And I thought, I'm not going to say anything in case he hasn't actually recognised or spotted it. But there you go. So there's for those who are watching along on YouTube, if you've never watched us on YouTube, pop over to Jay and Robbie, have a little peek. But there you go. You can see about 6 of them, I think, in the background on the video as it's cropped, but they do go a little further down and a little further up.
I can't believe I didn't notice. I mean, I know you've got lots of RGB in the background anyway, so maybe that's why I was thinking, it's just some more that I hadn't seen from a different angle. But also,
these are slightly more egregious, though. These are kind of much more in your face.
They are. And also, we reframed your camera for this recording as well. And you didn't mention it once that we need to make sure it's in shot. So well done on coordinating.
You did it. You subtly got it in shot, and I thought, I'm not going to say anything because they're there. They're perfectly placed.
Nice.
So, yeah. There you go. So Govee Glide Hexa light panels, based on 24 hours of use, I recommend. They're very good. Really easy to put together. Quite fun to kind of design your layouts. Loads of options in the app in terms of how you use them and what you do with them. They're Alexa enabled, all that jazz, Google Home, etc.
Nice.
So they're all now linked into the scenes for my office. Everything goes on and off at the same time. It all feels very magical.
Cool.
So that's what's new with me this week.
Very good, very good. I like those lights. I might have to get some myself, although I'm trying to think of where I would even stick it on the wall. I've got these sound dampening panels everywhere, so I'd have to find some free space on the wall to actually put some up. But I need more RGB. You're always criticising my background. I need some better lighting.
Not just me, Robbie, is it? Let's be honest.
You're right. It's more than just you. So on my list this week, so we're getting close to Christmas now, which means that lots of YouTubers are doing, tech gifts. I mean, we're not too dissimilar doing our review today, but also like yearly roundups of, what's in their tech bag this week, or what their current setup, their desk setup and things like that. And I watch a YouTuber called Dave2D, and he's got a really quite nice aesthetic of all of his tech. In fact, I think everything that he talks through in his years of roundup is all white. All of his tech is white, including, the case for his custom build PC, his fish tank, all of the laptops he's managed to test throughout the years, the handhelds as well. So he's got the ROG Ally, I believe it is, the new handheld by ASUS. But one of the things that he mentioned in the video, which I thought was really interesting, and I know you've been into your ultra wides recently, having got one yourself, and he's got an ultra wide in his video as well that he's just got. But this one had a really cool feature, which has made me more tempted than ever to potentially get one. So it's the new ASUS QD OLED 49-inch ultra-wide one that he talks about in the video. Trying to see if there's a link. Yeah, it just says 49-inch OLED on the screen. But what I really like about it, and I can't remember if you mentioned that yours does this as well, it probably does, but it's got the power delivery, one cable. You kind of plug it into like a laptop, and it delivers power to the laptop as well as plugging it into the screen, and there's a few USB things at the back, so you can have like peripherals plugged in there, like your keyboard and mouse. So it's got that. So he's plugged it into. He's both got a MacBook and a PC plugged in. It delivers 90 watts of power, so it'll even support a MacBook Pro 16-inch, whereas a lot of them I think only support the 14-inch. So very cool. But also it has a built-in KVM switch, which, for those of you who don't know what a KVM switch, it's basically traditionally like a little box that would sit on your desk, and you'd plug in all of your peripherals, so USB stuff in there, but you'd also plug in all your screens, and then you'd have two USB outs, one to each device, one to your PC and, say, another kind of laptop. And you would press the button on this little box, and it would swap between the devices, so you would have your screens would completely switch over, all your peripherals would do the same. So that's built into the back of this device as well. But not only that, it's a smart KVM switch. So you just press the button on the back of the screen, and it switches over the devices. But you can also have them side by side. So it's obviously quite a large monitor. And I think 49 inches is essentially two 27-inch monitors side by side.
Yeah, it's two 16:9 ratios, isn't it? Broadly speaking, I think.
Yeah, so quite large and quite easily fits two monitors into one. So on this video, Dave2D's got his MacBook on the left and his Windows PC on the right. As almost split by two separate screens, which is cool in itself. But also, because it's a KVM switch and a smart KVM switch, you can share the peripherals across these two screens as well. So he's got this mouse and keyboard plugged into both, and he can drag his mouth, and he's just demoing it there, from the Mac side, one side of the window, into the Windows side. And so it's smart. It knows when you're getting to the edge of one screen and starting on the other screen. And he's also demoing that he's playing a game on the Windows PC, and then he just switches back. And it's just one peripherals that quite quickly just switches between the two. Just really, really clever. And you can even do things, which is what he's demoing in this now. You can even do things like copying files from one device to another, which is also really cool. It sends the file through the KVM switch and then attaches it to the mouse on the other side if you keep holding it clicked down. So yeah, I saw that and I was like, I was always tempted by an ultra wide, but then that just looks insane. Like you can imagine having like your work PC or another PC set up, and then a laptop, and you can just share all your peripherals through it and have it split side by side. I just thought it was really quite clever.
That would make my life a whole lot easier. I have the unfortunate challenge of running 3 different devices off my screen, so I'd need even more extensibility. But yeah, I have a bit of an issue with, I don't know if it's KVMs or just kind of external docks, or whether both are affected. But I've got a number of devices now that do not play nice through docks.
Really?
So yeah, and it's not because It's not that I've got the wrong dock and they don't work. Literally, the products say, do not plug me into a dock. So things like the Elgato Facecam didn't like going through a dock. Even a USB 3 dock, it just did not like it, wouldn't play ball. But when you connect it directly to the machine, it would. The Stream Deck Plus will not go through a dock. It specifically says in the instruction book, do not connect me to a dock. If you connect it to a dock, it doesn't work. I don't know if it's power delivery or... Well, I don't know why it wouldn't work, but I've got a number of different docks here, modern docks, USB-C, all that jazz. They just will not work. So I'm in a position now where I've got no choice but to. I've got what I've basically done on my desk is I've got devices that fall into that category. I've got like Velcroed cables for various different devices. So what I would do when I podcast, for example, is I switch all my stuff from my work device to my personal PC. I basically unplug the microphone, I unplug the teleprompter, the camera, and then start everything up and run with it. I've got Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, which will all support multiple Bluetooth connections. Yeah. So they just toggle between devices. It's nice and easy.
That's a good way of doing it as well, to be fair. The Bluetooth swapping, I do really like devices that do that.
It's the reason I chose the keyboard that I chose was because I specifically needed to be able to go between 3 different devices in order to maintain my current setup, because I've got my MacBook, my desktop PC, which is what I do this all on, and then my work device. So I have to be able to kind of move between all 3. But that is a really cool monitor. I don't know if mine does power delivery. It has got USB-C on the back, but again, for the reasons I've just described.
To be fair.
Yeah, it might well do. I've not tried it. I might have a look and give that a whirl. But I do really like this. The reason I moved the prompter to my work setup is that the one downfall I found, because I present a lot, is if I want to run a PowerPoint presentation on a big monitor without fanning around trying to create split screens and whatever else, I just can't do it, because obviously it takes away my entire display. I can't see anyone on Teams or Zoom or whatever. So I use the prompter as the presentation screen, because it also gives a better camera impression, because I'm looking straight down the lens. It looks better from a presentation point of view. And I've started putting my Teams meetings, my Zoom calls up there because it's more engaging. But other than that, I think it's brilliant. I love my desk now looks much smarter, neater, cleaner, because I've been able to simplify the number of cables and connections and things that are running around. Having taken the old Elgato Facecam off my desk now and replacing it with my digital SLR also means that interface is much cleaner. So it's gradual, small improvements. The number of different bloody cables I've bought over the last couple of months, USB-C that to this, or extension leads, or HDMI to mini HDMI, or HDMI to DisplayPort. I've got so many of these cables already, but you've never got the one you need.
Yeah,
so I was like, I just need the one that specifically goes between these 2 types. Damn it, I haven't got that one. I'll have to buy another cable, or this one's not quite long enough. And I think I've told you before. For those who are looking on screen, you can see it's quite a long room that I'm in. Yeah. And my gaming setup's the other end, so I've had to run cables all the way down the office to be able to stream. Anyway, we've gone slightly off topic there, but that's a really cool screen. I haven't seen that video.
I'll make sure it's in there.
I'm very happy with mine. You should do it.
I know, I am tempted, especially
buy it.
Especially this one. It's this on the PS5. See, I've got my decision. Or maybe both.
I was going to say, Christine, you've got the MacBook, PS5, and now an ultra-wide screen hanging over you.
I know. I think it's pull the trigger on one of them.
Safer for your wallet and for your marriage if you don't come to my house for quite a while.
I know. You're going to make me so tempted by all this stuff.
You just walk in and be like, need to have those things.
Quick one, actually. Speaking of the PS5, I don't know if you saw some of the news this week about all the leaks about the PS5 Pro. There's been a few more things that came out about it. But apparently there's a date now for GTA 6, because the trailer came out as well.
Well, not a date. There's a year.
Yes, 2024. I think it's... I think
2025.
2025?
Yeah, the end of the trailer specifically says 2025.
Oh, I must have missed the end of the trailer. Fair enough. But the reason I was going to say that is they're also anticipating, I think, the PS5... Well, the leaks are obviously wrong now, but they said that it might come out with like a GTA 6 exclusive thing at the end of 2024.
Well,
but
only if it comes in 2025, because the trailer specifically came out and ends with 2025.
Oh, fair. That's a long time to wait for it. Anyway.
It's only 90 seconds as well, the trailer, but it does look good.
It does impressive. Look good. Graphics are
really
incredible.
Cool.
Incredible. Yeah.
That's
maybe that's just what's new. There's just too much happening this month, I think.
there's too much all year. It's been too much.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. If you look back over the episodes, the amount of tech that we talked about that's been announced is crazy. Anyway, so this episode, we're having a look back at tech gimmicks again. So we've done a couple of episodes like this, where we talk through a few of the random smart devices. I think we did one which was like tech smart devices. But this episode, we're going to focus on Christmas gifts. And this literally just involved me researching some of the worst gifts or techy gifts or gimmicky gifts that I could find. Some of them actually ended up being quite good. So it's not this is like not a usual everything is crap list. This is some of it's actually quite good, and we're going to make a judgment call at the end of each. Like I'll intro the actual device itself, and then we'll make a judgment call on whether it's a gift or a gimmick.
And the way these have gone in the past, you often, well, in fact, we've done a couple of these episodes, and it's always your episode in terms of hosting duties, and you're always the one to choose the gifts, and they end up being quite polarizing. There's things that you really like that I just cannot get on board with.
Yeah,
but it does make me laugh that you've gone and we literally, as this was planned in our schedule. I'm looking at the title right now. It says "Crappy Christmas Gifts," and then he sat there and gone, "Actually, most of these are quite good." So
I know. I'm easy to please.
You failed
though.
to find the rubbish ones. You've gone and found cool things that you like. So I'm excited, and I never know. Well, I never know what these are going to be. So my reactions, much like last week with Robbie's plans for the music episode, which I thought went very well. Well done.
Thank you.
I don't know what's coming, so.
Yeah.
I'm always look forward to these episodes because they always genuinely are so very random. So
going in blind.
Let's do it. Cool.
Well, so the first one I've got, it's called the Timeless 11. And so there's lots of lists I looked at for gifts, and this is the one that kind of stuck out to me as a really stupid one. I thought I'd get your take on it. Stupid because it's something that, okay, it is solving a legitimate problem, but it's a very expensive and luxurious way of doing it. And I can't imagine anyone would actually spend money on unless they've got more money than sense. But anyway, so essentially, this is a device that sits on top of wine bottles, and it has a gas canister inside. It's a argon gas. And the theory behind this is, if you open a bottle of wine, the oxygen is what makes it go off, basically. So this is a device that instead of pumping oxygen in as you're pouring the wine, it'll pump this kind of neutral argon gas, which won't turn the wine. So you can have this device that sits on the wine, and the wine will stay fresh, basically until it's finished. So the way it works, you slide this device on top of a wine bottle. In fact, actually, I'm not sure. This is something I didn't check, is whether you take the cork out or not. Because I'd imagine as soon as you take the cork out, oxygen gets in.
Yeah, exactly.
So I imagine perhaps you don't even take the cork out. And it does have quite a long...
There you go. Isn't that picture you just went on to showing the exact method? Isn't that... It looks like it's puncturing the cork. It's still in, isn't it?
Where's that?
The one there you're just looking at. I don't know. Is that not what that looks like?
I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. I can't see it in there.
Oh, sorry. I'm misreading that picture. It's quite small on the screen I'm looking at, so...
I'd imagine you would puncture I mean, how would you do it? I mean, I suppose if you're going to spend... this is the other thing about it. It's $384, reduced from $550. I was going to say you wouldn't use this on a screw top, I'd imagine, because if you're going to buy this device, you're probably not going to have screw top wine. So I imagine you do pierce a cork. It's quite a long, thin, kind of needle-like pipe that goes into the bottle. So I imagine you just pierce the cork, keep it ultra fresh, no oxygen gets to the wine, and as you pour, it pumps this argon gas into the wine and then pushes it through the little nozzle. So really high tech, over-engineering the pouring of wine, and make sure that it preserves the wine. So I guess first impressions, what do you think of that? I mean, $384.30.
I think. In the interest of keeping this podcast relatively clean, I won't give you my first impressions. No, I don't know. It just seems, like you said, it's a very expensive way of solving a problem that I don't know applies to that many people. Having said that, fine wine and the kind of costs associated with really expensive wine is something that's reserved for the elite. I guess this gadget probably falls into that category. If you're buying your wine at your local Sainsbury's, you aren't using this.
No.
You know, this is for expensive bottles of wine. And if you're really into it and it actually works, and I suppose, if you're spending enough on your wine and it's reusable and all that jazz, maybe it's worth it. What I will say is it doesn't look very sophisticated attached to the top of the bottle. It looks a bit naff. And I don't know if you're a winey even, or a wino, I don't know what the right word is. If you're into your fine wines,
sommelier,
does that kind of ruin the experience for you? Pouring the bottle, I don't know. I personally haven't been around that many bottles of wine that have been open that long that this would be a problem, to be honest.
No.
A couple of glasses each and your bottle's gone. I mean, how much time does it have to really go off? But
that was my first thought, is that who doesn't finish their bottles of wine? That was literally my first thought.
And then, is what they're saying here then that the wine goes off that quickly that between glass 1 and glass 2, there's significant change in the quality of your wine? Or is this one of these things that's designed for kind of an overnight storage? I mean, I will confess, I've got a couple of specifically designed corks for re-corking wine, and they pressure fit. So if you've got a similar one, you put the cork in and you put the little pump on top, you give it a couple of pumps, and then theoretically it's created a seal. That has been perfectly sufficient for the few occasions I've used that in the last few years since I bought it.
Yeah.
And it was very inexpensive.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the question.
Spoil?
Yeah, that's the question. Is it those things, which will probably be like less than £10? Is it 300 times or 30 times, whatever, 38 times better for 38 times the cost? I can't imagine it is. To just use like a simple device like that. Yeah, I don't know. I imagine it's an overnight thing as well, because I think
you'd have to drink a lot of wine to make that worth it.
The only use case I can think of is that you've got lots of very expensive vintage wines and you don't want to drink the entire bottle. You might want to taste it. So something like this, where you could just pierce the cork, have a taste, and then put it back.
But presumably you then need one of these for every one of your expensive bottles of wine that you're not then drinking to finish, because you can't take it out again.
That's a good question. Maybe
it's got to stay in there. It's got to stay in there presumably until you finish the wine.
Maybe
once there's a hole in the cork, there's a hole in the cork, isn't it? It's not. Once you take it out, that's not going to reseal, is it?
Yeah, maybe that's a good point.
And also, presumably that gas is only good for so many pours, so many bottles.
Oh, you have to refill the canisters.
Yeah, so that's an additional cost on top of your. What does an extra can cost? Presumably they quote it there.
So you get 4 canisters with this, and to get an extra canister, that's a good question. It'll be on the get capsules. We're there. It's loading. Just while that's loading, $39 for what is that? 6.
And how many do they do? We assume 1 a bottle. They're only small, aren't they, by the looks of it?
No, not one bottle of wine, surely, per bottle.
I bet it is, because it's displacing the air that's in the bottle, isn't it? And if it's not oxygen going in, then it's got to be able to fill a bottle.
I know, but it's pressurized gas, so it should last a bit longer. It doesn't say. That's a good question. Oh, 15 5-ounce glasses of wine. 150 mils. So 15, that's 6.
That's not even, isn't a bottle of wine something in the region of about 750?
750, yeah.
So it's 5 glasses. 5 glasses from that bottle. So 3 bottles of wine, and then that's got to be replaced.
Yeah, that's not good.
I think we can call that one a gimmick.
I think we can. I
don't want to receive that as a gift, and I'm certainly not giving it as a gift. So it's a gimmick.
Just to your point earlier, though, because between glasses, like glass to glass, aeration's supposed to be a good thing. I mean, that's why you get aeration tools. You're supposed to put.
Well, I thought there was, but is that for cheap wine? I don't know if there was some. I'm not a big wine drinker, but I thought there was something about opening a bottle of red and letting it breathe.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know if that only applies to cheap wine.
I think that's expensive wine as well. And they even sell an aerator.
Why does this thing exist then?
I don't know.
What the hell?
Well, there you go.
Who knows?
Gimmick. I think we're both settled on gimmick on that one.
100%.
Okay. Next on the list then. So this I originally thought was going to be a gimmick, and actually looks like could be quite useful. So it's a smart device, and it's something that hooks on the inside of your bin. So it's a smart bin device. And what it does is it has a scanner on it. And as you're throwing things out, you can scan things that you're throwing out to add it to your shopping list, to replace them in your fridge. So, yeah, I can see. So Jay's shaking his head for those who are just listening. So yeah, it's a little scanny device that sits on the inside of your bin. As you're throwing things out, I'm assuming it only works with things with barcodes on it. But yeah, scan barcodes. It can also respond to voice commands, apparently. And you can build things up on a grocery list and even push it straight to Amazon's Dash. I'm assuming this is an American service. There's probably a UK equivalent that you can use it for. It is $125. Or actually, that was the reduced price. And it was 100. I think the original RRP is $149. It's called GeniCan. GeniCan. Because everything's Gen I these days. Gen AI? Gen
I. Where to start? Well, a couple of things. So first of all, I guess in its defense, it's trying to solve that problem of helping you automate the use of something and the replenishing of stock, isn't it? Basically. So you've used something that you want to replenish and it's just going to help you quickly and easily add it. I would argue there are probably easier ways. I think smart fridges have tried to do this in the past, where I know there have been fridges before which would let you either look at your fridge through a camera when you're out shopping, which I don't think anyone probably uses, or allows you again to scan things into a list, and then you can use that list to shop. So I guess it's just the alternative. Instead of taking it out of the fridge and scanning it, it's putting it in the bin and scanning it, which is fine. I don't often have a huge amount of space in my relatively small bin. Once it starts to fill up, you start to cram things in. I'd be interested to know where the scanner sits. Is it in the bin, on the bin, around the bin, in the lid? Like, where does it go? Because I could imagine that would get quite messy, especially if you're doing something like, let's say you've just been cutting up some chicken and you're throwing away the box, that the plastic container the chicken came in. If the barcode's somewhere that's awkward, you're going to spill juices all over the floor or in the bin. I think I imagine that being an issue.
There were some clips earlier on in this to show you how it works. I'm just trying to see if I can load that up for anyone who's watching on YouTube. But essentially it sits on the edge. It like hooks on the edge of your bin, and it has like the barcode scanner that points up. So it's just at the top. It'll basically be like an extra. So as you go
over it into the bin, then okay. Yeah, I mean, it might avoid mess. Depends on where the barcode is and whether you remember to do it, doesn't it, or whether you even want to re-add that item. But we have a similar setup at home. We have an Echo device in every room, and we use a product called AnyList. If you've come across that app before,
no,
it's not new. It's been around for years. AnyList supports connections to Amazon's Alexa. I'm trying to avoid saying it because there's one in front of me.
I know.
But it basically you can use voice control. So we've done that for years, and it's been going into the same list for years, and then basically anyone in the house who depletes something in any room, whether it's toothpaste, mouthwash, like genuine kitchen items, toilet paper, whatever, can just at that moment give the voice instruction to have that added to the shopping list, and it's automatically catalogued. So we have a similar concept, but it's not quite as automated as scanning it on the way into the bin. But also it works anywhere in the house because you can remember you need to do it from anywhere and just give the voice command and get on with your day.
That does seem more convenient, especially because not everything has a barcode.
Yeah, it's also free because if you've already got these Echo devices, and I imagine it works exactly the same on a Google device, if you've got a Home Assistant, the AnyList app, or likely others similar to it, will work exactly the same way. So,
yeah, that is clever.
It's an interesting idea. I feel like it's maybe over-engineered.
Yeah, I'd imagine. I actually think it is, yeah. But, I don't know, I still think it's quite cool. There's something satisfying about having a barcode scanner to scan things in, to make sure you're finding the right items, and not just generically adding it to a list, but it'll actually add it to your basket in another app, for example.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I've got the... for my games collection, I have an app. What's it called? Let me double check. This is not uncommon either in many apps now. I have an app called CLZ Games, and it basically allows me to scan barcodes of my games, and it will search for them automatically, and then I can add them to my collection. It's used the camera on your phone, and
Clever.
apps have been using the camera on your phone for a long time for stuff like that. So you could probably achieve it in other ways. It feels a little over-engineered, and I don't know how I'd feel about this as a Christmas gift. I think it maybe says something about you, Robbie, that this is a Christmas gift in your mind.
Well, kitchen
Here,
items.
I've automated your dustbin.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, you mean you wouldn't want this? This is the kind of thing I buy loved ones for Christmas, is tech and smart gifts.
I hope we're not in love, Robbie. I would say I'm going to call that firm gimmick, because I think the idea is clever. It's solving a problem that no one's probably asked for. I've never heard someone go, if only my bin could scan my rubbish and reorder it for me.
Yeah.
It feels like I don't know. Is anyone saying that? Is that a genuine problem, or has someone just gone, I could build this with tech that now exists, therefore it solves a problem? It feels like a
true solution finding a problem.
Solution looking for a problem, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I don't think this exists.
We haven't even discussed charging and how you would replenish batteries or whatever.
Oh, God, yeah. Is it battery powered or mains powered?
No, I'm trying to find it. This might be another one. I've done this before on our show, where I've pointed out a product that was a crowdfund project that was actually ultimately cancelled. So let's have a quick look to see if it was actually achieved. It doesn't. I mean, this article actually, it says it doesn't, but there wasn't actually anything in the article about.
I'm glad your research is thorough.
I know, yeah. Look at that. It's managed to raise 7,812, which is not a whole lot. That's 62 backers.
Is this a new thing then? Is this still going, or did this finish?
This was back in 2015, so I think it's probably finished.
Robbie,
yeah, all the pre-orders are cancelled.
You're bringing 2015 failed Kickstarter tech.
It didn't say it was
our
failed.
Christmas giving product in 2023.
I didn't say it was failed.
I said it failed.
Yeah,
it should never
probably
have
failed.
Also, I would have said that was a GeniCan or GeniCan.
GeniCan.
As you said, GeniCan. But the way they've done that logo on that screen looks like they're trying to distinguish between the Genie and the can.
GeniCan. GeniCan.
Trash can is a US term for a dustbin, isn't it?
GeniCan.
I don't know if it's Genie because it's smart. It's like everyone. It's that kind of like that was a common thing 5-10 years ago, wasn't it? Like smart technology, Genie this, Genie the other. Don't know. Either way, who cares?
They've been shipped.
It's a gimmick.
They've been shipped. It didn't fail.
When did they ship? When was that update?
6 years ago.
You can't find them anywhere now.
I found it on their official
I wonder
Indiegogo page.
If any one of our listeners bought or backed a GeniCan or a GeniCan or a GeniCan or whatever it's called, please take the time to go in the comments and tell us what it's like. And if you didn't have one and you've never heard of it but think it'd be funny to add a comment and pretend you did, do that as well, because I find that really funny. Just give me like a rave review for the GeniCan.
We need the keyboard warriors defending this in the chat.
Or like they did with that VR tennis. I keep getting the stick over for that bloody short.
We're not going to go into it again. It's so funny. Okay. So there you go.
Two gimmicks.
Yeah.
Two gimmicks. No gifts so far.
On to another one that's probably a gimmick.
I think I've seen this before.
So
is this the giant AirPod?
It is
speaker?
A giant AirPod speaker.
God.
So it is as described. It looks like an AirPod, not a Pro, a normal AirPod, the one with the long stem. But it's a giant one. It's the size of a speaker and like a normal, I guess, like a JBL kind of standalone speaker.
Yeah, it's like a portable Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah. So this popped up again. I just went on a few websites.
It's a bit like a hairdryer.
It does look like a hairdryer. And that's another Christmas gift. People get hairdryers for Christmas.
Yeah, but that's practical.
I mean, this is a speaker. It's quite a cool, novelty-looking AirPod speaker.
So tell me how much.
£30. So actually, not crazy amount of money.
I think that's pretty reasonable for a novelty Bluetooth speaker. I mean, generally speaking, as a novelty gift, which that absolutely is, I imagine the audio quality is bloody awful. No one's rushing out to buy that instead of a JBL or whatever, a proper brand Bluetooth speaker. It's a complete novelty. It's probably something funny for an Apple fan. I would find it amusing if I opened it. I'm gonna give you a gift on that one. I think for the price, for not £30 for a novelty but usable gift, that for an enthusiast, I think that's reasonable. If you'd have said £100, I'd have gone absolutely not.
Can you imagine the quality of a £100 one though? You'd hope that would be by Apple.
But I don't think. I think it's the complete impracticality of that, isn't it? Like, how do you sit it, lie it, stand it up?
That was my first
It looks
thought as well.
like the speaker comes out where the earpiece would typically be, but then how the hell would it sit up so that was directed suitably into a room? I think there's a lot of problems with it. 30 is probably the top end. I think any more than that, and it would have been unreasonable, and maybe slightly is unreasonable at 30, maybe 20 for a novelty gift. Because your expectations of the performance of that are very low, aren't they? That's something you open and go, oh, that's so funny. I'll probably never use that, but I'll put it on a shelf, and then it never gets.
It would look good in a man cave. I'll give you that. Anyone who's like a tech enthusiast, you could see it in your background. To be fair, I could see that.
I could put it on my little Apple shelf with my Chinese imported Steve Jobs.
You could, and yeah, I like the idea of handing it to someone who's small as well and pretending that it's a normal AirPod. You could do like funny photo shoots like that.
I did do a picture with a friend of mine who I always give crap for being much shorter than me. We went to Dublin. We went to the Guinness factory.
Yeah.
And you can obviously have a full pint of Guinness there at the end of your tour, but they also give you these little mini pints. So I took a picture of him drinking his full-size one, and he'd taken a picture of me with the mini one, and I just sent it to our partners and said, same glass. Just basically insinuating that the pint in his hand was actually just a small glass from mine.
I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, I like this one. I think I wouldn't want one. This is not me saying to anyone I want one of these, by the way. I would still think this is a disappointing thing to receive. But for the right person,
I wouldn't actually be disappointed. I think it'd be quite cool to receive. It's novelty though. It's probably something I'd not use, but it's like at this point it's a display item with some functionality.
Yeah, exactly that. It's something you stick on a shelf and you might use once in a blue moon for a joke.
Yeah. Quite good tech though in it. It's got a Bluetooth 5.0, the newest one I believe. It's got an SD card slot and a USB slot, so that you could plug in like a USB stick and play music from it.
Because so many people have music on USB sticks anymore.
You never know.
Well, I fell foul of that with. I think I've told you before. I bought some headphones for swimming.
Yeah.
Which you go, well, how hard can that be? Well, it's a surprisingly challenging thing to deliver, because Bluetooth doesn't work through water, so you can't have your phone on the side of the pool and be doing lengths, and it's streaming from your device. It doesn't work. So the only way to use them was to load digital music onto the device.
Oh, cool.
And I bought them, and I realised I don't have any digital music anymore.
Yeah, nobody does.
My old iTunes Match library of all of my old illegal stuff that they then legalised for me, and then I stopped paying for, is long since gone. So I was limited to a handful of old albums I had actually bought on iTunes that I was allowed to physically download and put onto that device. I never used them.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, physical music these days, I say physical, digital owned music, I guess is the right words.
Yeah.
Is just not a thing anymore. Streaming services is absolutely dominating. So good point. I mean, yeah, nobody's really going to have an SD card or USB of music, I suppose. Well, not many people.
Do you know what? There probably are people. I'm being a bit narrow-minded there, but
audiophiles,
it's useful to have.
Would.
Yeah, it's useful to have.
But this isn't really an audiophile device.
No, that's it. It is a novelty. The Bluetooth functionality though could be fun. Is it a rechargeable? Is it double A's, or how's it powered?
8 hours of battery time. It's micro USB charging. It looks like just from the.
Boo!
I know it's pretty old now, but yeah, it's rechargeable. 8 hours of playback, which is pretty good to be fair. 8 hours.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm sure someone would find some fun from it.
I'm going to vote that one as a gift as well. I wouldn't be upset if someone got me this. I do think it's a bit of a waste of money, but yeah, I wouldn't be upset if someone got me it. Quite a fun one. Right, next one. A one for us both. One that we both could be potentially interested in. These are called digital drumsticks. So, harkening back to our music episode last week. So these are essentially drumsticks with speakers in, and they react to motion. So you don't actually need a drum kit anymore. This is the future, Jay. You drum in the air or on a table, and it will emulate the sounds as you're hitting as you're hitting the table or stopping midair. And as you move them around, I think they're kind of spatially aware, so they know roughly where you're hitting and what kind of sound it should make. £15 this one. So again, quite a novelty one.
Oh, yeah.
You immediately thinking about the quality.
Yeah, my brain was thinking, well, how accurate will that be when you're swinging in different directions? You know, am I on the hi-hat, the cymbals, whatever? Like, how will it know? And then you said £15, and I went, it probably won't.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be that accurate, is it?
No, I wouldn't have thought. I mean, I'd be blown away if it is. I'll put you out another alternative, though, if you want to air drum. You do need a VR headset for this. So,
okay.
Caveat. But a bit like things like Beat Saber, and I guess sort of mix it. If you imagine Beat Saber, kind of Guitar Hero, any of those kind of games, they do a drum equivalent. So you pop your VR headset on, your virtual drum kit appears in front of you.
Nice.
Your controllers become the sticks, and then you can play.
That's
in
pretty
VR.
cool.
And that's accurate. That works well. And those games, granted, you need a VR headset first, are somewhere in the region of £15 to £20. But obviously, there's that £300 or £400 upfront investment.
Yeah.
To get the headset first.
That's really cool. I might give that a go.
Probably a better experience than that. Yeah, I've got one of them on the Quest. It is decent.
Yeah, I might give that a go. Over Christmas, I tend to spend more time playing games and doing VR stuff, so I might crack out the VR this winter and discover some new games. I'll give that a go.
Have you seen, and we're going off topic here, Steam Link VR has launched on Quest, so now you can connect wirelessly to your Steam.
Apparently you always could.
Actually,
but it's
you
more
can use
reliable now.
You can use other products like Virtual Desktop and things like that, but this is the first time Steam VR has brought an official app to the MetaQuest store, which is good because I had paid for the Quest, the £80 cable for the Quest Link years ago. It's now used to run my teleprompter because it was conveniently USB-C to C and high enough quality for data transfer. But it was always still a pain. I've got Half-Life Alyx, which I've not started, and I really want to. I'm now thinking, do I get on my Quest Pro, download the Steam Link VR, and maybe crack out Half-Life Alyx?
Very cool. That would be cool.
Tempted.
It's what the winter's for, isn't it? It's what Christmas is for, is crack out all these games that you've been meaning to play all year.
Well, I might have a look for the Quest Pro blackout lenses now that the device has been out and basically shunned by Facebook, Meta, to see if it's been come down in price, because they were crazy expensive when they first came out, but then maybe they've come down a bit now.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, there you go. Anyway,
sorry, sidetracking us again.
Yeah,
virtual drumsticks. I think a gimmick. I don't even know. Is that even a novelty fun gift to receive?
I think if it was maybe
it is. I think 15 quid.
15 quid is actually off-putting how cheap that is, because you know it's going to be terrible. I think as a novelty though, maybe a gift for a kid. Kids might enjoy this.
For a kid, it might be funny around the living room on Christmas Day, and everyone just has a bit of a go and goes, "Oh yeah, look at me, I'm a drummer," and then they'll never get picked up again.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, for the right.
I'd be interested in some reviews. Yeah, I'd be interested in the reviews, like just to see if anyone, genuine reviews, not those dodgy website ones, but is there anyone who's bought this that would say it's utter rubbish, or that goes actually surprisingly good for the cost?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll get it this Christmas, and I'll let you know.
You do that.
Well,
I'm making no such promise. Can we check? Can you actually still buy those?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
This is on Mankind store.
Okay, fair enough.
Mankind's a great shop in the UK that has like gadgets and tech gifts and like a gift shop basically. Really good. That and Firebox is my two go-tos for gimmicky tech stuff. Yeah, spotted that in the store the other day. We've got another one from Mankind next. I'm assuming we're both. Well, actually, I'd say that's a gift for the right person, but mostly gimmick. What about you?
Yeah, I'm thinking it depends. If you go in with the right expectations, £15 might get used a handful of times and never used again. Fine. And I don't know how I feel about that, actually, as I'm recommending it, because it does feel a bit wasteful. There's that kind of recycling plastic waste mentality.
It is a bit wasteful.
At the same time, it's 15 quid, isn't it? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm torn on that one. I'm going to go gimmick.
Fair. Okay. Right, next one. This one is a product I've seen. This is probably the cheaper version of the product. But it's where we had a couple of episodes, or one episode in the past, and I've spoken quite a bit about 3D printing. This is a take on 3D printing in that it is a pen that you can print filament strings from in midair. So, well, midair. It's basically you have a you have to have a base. You have to have a base,
Yeah.
but you can.
It works very much in the same way as the same principle, doesn't it? As a standard filament 3D printer.
Yes.
It's just not in a big giant rig or anywhere near as precise. It's more like freehand versions. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's basically, it looks like a very fat pen, and you have a filament that's fed into the back of the pen, and it heats it up a bit like you would like a glue gun, and you can start drawing physical objects. So the example that's on this image on the website is somebody's drawn a cat on a skateboard. Now, I wonder how much practice you have to do to be able to do that, because it does look, I imagine, quite fiddly to do this stuff.
I don't know how new that is, because I've seen these are several years old at this point.
Yes, they are.
Saw a good example. If you want to see a good video of someone using one of these, I think I've mentioned Jazza, the YouTube artist before. He did a video years ago at this point now, where he used one of those to create his kind of end of video masterpiece was Venom, and he made it with the 3D pen. And
Impressive.
It worked quite nicely because you could kind of do the tendrils, and it all looked quite authentic. It was pretty good. I think it probably took him quite a long time, and he's obviously an artist. But I think that they're quite an interesting gift. I think for the right, I'm assuming they're probably more aimed at younger people, like
14 plus it says.
Kids.
So.
Oh wow! So not like, well, I suppose it's
like a heat gun.
The heat gun, isn't it? Yeah. So there's probably an element of danger there. If that was targeting kids. Not the danger side, but targeting kids in terms of who it was for, I'd say that was an absolute gift without even knowing the price. For an adult, I guess if you've got like an art enthusiast in the family,
teenager, 14, 15.
Someone who's enthusiastic about art and crafting might find that interesting and do some fun stuff with it. I don't see it being something they go back to over and over for lots of different art projects, but maybe one or two fun little projects would be good. I mean, I'd enjoy it. Yeah,
me too. And I'm not even an artist, and I would definitely have a go. If I was like 14, 15, I'd have a go at this. I think it'd be wicked fun.
I'd do it now. My daughter would be all over it. Now, she's too young for it. How much is it?
It is £35, so reduced from 45. Assuming for Christmas.
It's quite a lot for something that I would have minimal expectations in terms of its kind of use over time.
Do you think?
That's quite good. Was more like, if that was £20 and I was going to gift it to someone knowing it was novelty use, 35s, you can get some much nicer things that you're going to get more use out of, I think, for £35.
Well, certainly, yeah, you're going to find better things. Well, things that are going to have more longevity. I don't know though. I think this is a very kind of Christmassy gift.
How much filament it comes with? It does have a Christmas kind of gift vibe to it. It's something you do over the holidays, isn't it?
It's something
Does it
that
say how much filament it comes with?
As a kid, what I used to do is look through the Argos catalogue and start circling a bunch of things. This is the kind of thing that I would circle and just be like,
I'd love to Argos
mess around with this. Yeah, 100%.
Interestingly, I don't know whether you're up to speed with this now, but the way that the kids do it now is still catalogues, but it's Smith's Toys catalogue now.
Ah, okay.
There's supplanted Argos and anything
Smith's
Toys
is
R Us may have
expensive.
done.
I bet you can get a version of this in Smith's, and I bet it's a lot more expensive.
Smith's is not expensive.
Is it not?
No.
Oh, fair.
Smith's is pretty competitive. In fact, I got my PS5 through Smith's randomly.
Really?
Mm.
Oh, fair enough. Well,
they're pretty reasonable for kids' toys.
Fair enough. It doesn't say how much filament you get. Obviously, I'm struggling to see it in the article here, the post. It just says four sample lengths.
Ooh, so you're going to need to buy filament as well then?
Probably. And it doesn't look like... Well, I don't know whether Mankind sell it, is the other thing. So it feels like even Mankind know that this is like a not used very often gift. But I still think it could be cool. I think it could be fun to use. It's one of these things that if you get really into it, you could maybe look for alternatives. And this is like the softer on-ramp into something 3D printing and
I was going to say, is it the gateway drug to full-blown 3D printing?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or something more crafty, sculpture-wise, or something like that. You never know. Just, yeah, I mean, you can imagine giving it to a kid and just getting them excited about art. Good way of doing that. Anyway, I'm going to say gift for this one. I don't think it's a gimmick. What about you?
I will go with the gift, although I do feel like the lack of filament and the likelihood that this only gets used over Christmas probably means it's a bit of a waste of money.
You think?
But it does have that kind of Christmas feel, as you said. It's got the Argos catalogue vibes. I'm with you.
Yeah, cool. Okay, next one. This one is, it's not new. It's something I've seen a while ago, but I actually think it would make quite a good Christmas gift for someone. And so it just reminded me, I saw something similar on one of the other stores, and I think it was on Firebox. It was like a brew your own beer thing. But this is like quite a cooler version of this that I've seen. So it's something called a Pinter. It's like its own company, its own website. So it's not through like another store, although I think you can buy it through other stores. The idea of it is that you get a barrel and a bunch of kind of packs to be able to brew your own beer, and you put this brew pack into this keg looking thing, this plastic keg, which works as a cooler as well, and you put it in your fridge and you leave it in for a certain amount of time, 4 to 7 days I think it recommends from the pack, and then in 7 days you have a beer that you can start pouring yourself from the fridge. And the beer prices are actually quite cheap, the actual packs themselves, and you get quite a bit out of them as well. So it's just it's quite an interesting way of doing your own beer. It's obviously very low effort compared to normal brewing, but it's quite a cool device. Fits in your fridge, and you can pour beer straight from your fridge. And they've got lots of different flavors and stuff as well you can get now. Let me just have a little look at the beers. They do seasonal beers. I think I saw some Christmas ones that they've got in there at the moment. All different types of beers that you can get in here from different places. They've got a stout in there. A couple of stouts, actually. I'm trying to find the name of the Christmas ones. Oh, they also do ciders that you can do in the boxes as well. There it is. Naughty and Spiced is their Christmas dark ale that they've got. So you get these packs and you just chuck them straight in.
You pulled it back when you added cider to the list because I'm not a beer drinker, so the appeal of brewing my own beer is kind of lost on me. But I can absolutely appreciate for someone who is an enthusiast, and I know a lot of people are, that could be really cool. Is the point that it's cheaper pints? Because you say cheaper, but I did see £99 on the product itself, so you have to factor that cost into every pint that it produces.
True.
But then, and obviously that diminishes, that cost goes down the more you make, which again, maybe that's not a good thing. But yeah, the more you drink, the less the investment costs you. But the is the fun factor here the fact that you've made your own?
Yes, I think
it's
a bit
still
of both.
cheaper than buying. Yeah, because
it's a bit of both. So the device itself, we can talk through the numbers. The device itself is £99. I think you might get some beer with that as well, so like your first purchase. It makes 10 pints from that, and if you're going to buy an independent beer like separately, it's about anywhere between £15 to like £25-23. So 10 pints for 23. Much? 10 pints.
So it's £2.30 a pint plus £10 a pint for your first 10, diminishing from that point onwards the more you make.
Yeah.
The first pint's £12.30 a pint.
Yes.
So you've got to be, if you're going to do it, you've got to make more.
You've got to make more. I
imagine
as well
fun factor as well and all that.
It is. I mean, I say up to 23, 22, but most of them are 15. It looks like it's more the specialty ones that seem to be more expensive. But yeah, so 15, £1.50 a pint most of the time.
I've never brewed beer before, so I don't know whether the process is fun or not. So you said this simplifies the process, makes it easier. The reason I ask, it's a valid question. So when I was looking for my coffee machine, so I bought like a mid-level sort of barista machine, kind of bean to cup solution. Nothing overly fancy, but you know, a step up from your regular Nespresso kind of pod-based coffee maker. I had a couple of choices. I went for the more manual machine at a similar cost to a more automated one because I didn't want absolutely everything done for me. I didn't want the beans ground, pushed into the press, extruded, and then, I wanted a little bit of that kind of input and I do it every day. I'll do 2 or 3 of these a day, and I enjoy the process of kind of grinding the beans, tamping the beans, putting it in, to the machine, expressing the coffee, steaming the milk, etc. So that, I guess the reason I'm saying that is in the world of brewing beer, is it solely about the output, or is there an enjoyment to the act of making it in the first place that is lost almost by something that's that little bit more automated or simplified? Or actually is the act of beer not quite like the act of making coffee, at least in my eyes, and therefore it doesn't matter? I'm just curious, and I don't know if you've ever brewed beer. I haven't, so.
I haven't myself, but I know a little bit about it. I've got friends who've done it, and I watched, I don't know, there's a TV show a while ago. I can't remember what it was called, but what was his name? James, who's that singer that everyone hates?
James Blunt.
James Blunt, yeah. So he hosted an amateur beer contest show, like reality TV show. I'm gonna have to find it. Beer contest. Beer Masters, that's what it's called. Bear Masters, that's why. Yeah, because he's got that funny accent. He's Bear Masters. That's what he says. So I've seen a bit on that about brewing beers, and it's people who are just at home who make beer, and then they get on the competition, and it's like, each week we want to make you this. We want you to make this specialty beer. They brew it, and then they get them to taste it at the end. And by all accounts, it doesn't look easy. It doesn't look easy, I would say. And I've got friends who've done it as well at home, and it's a long process and can quite easily go wrong. Things can contaminate it quite easily. It can be, you've got the delicate balance of the yeast and the sugar and all of that. I've heard it's not easy. So this takes probably a lot of the stress out of it by having the pre-packed stuff. Just chuck it in, probably chuck in a bunch of water, maybe some sugar as well, I don't know.
Okay.
And it takes the stress out of it. Also, in comparison to coffee, it's a lot longer than...
Well, yes. I wasn't trying to draw direct comparisons with the coffee making process. It was more just the idea of like I could have had, I had before the coffee machine an espresso. Yeah. I could make coffee much quicker, but the coffee is better that I make now, and there's a bit more effort that goes into it. So that's what I was kind of driving at. Yeah. But as you said, it sounds like there's quite a bit more difference between the process of brewing your own beer, the sort of a traditional way, versus this machine, and what that does. And like I said, if you're into that kind of craft beer taste, and you want to have that, the fun of having that, it's quite a big device to have sat in your fridge all year round. But
it is
good as a party piece as well, because one of the images there is very clearly out of the fridge.
Yes.
And being used, in some sort of event. So it's got a nice kind of party vibe feel to it as well, which I can, although, only 10 people can come to your party. But still, I think I'm sold. I think that I would give that. I would say if I was a beer drinker and I received that as a gift, I'd be pretty damn happy with it.
I'd be happy with it too.
Especially at the price.
Well.
It's quite an expensive gift. But I think for someone who's got that interest, I can completely see why you would be happy with that. Something
that everyone could pitch in for one person who's a beer lover, for example. That kind of price is like more than doable, I think. But yeah, I think the same gift. I've got a friend who's got this, and he actually raves about it. He says it's really good, so I know it's good. He didn't get it as a gift. I think he got it himself. But yeah, I'd be excited to receive this as a gift. I think it's quite a cool idea.
I mean, even as a non-beer drinker, I want to say I don't drink beer. I'll have the odd one, but I'm not like an enthusiast. It's not my go-to drink. I'd give the cider a go for sure, and I'd probably give 1 or 2 of the beers, if I could find the right kind of flavour combination, a go. I would still potentially enjoy that. So even as a non-beer drinker, I'd give it a whirl and be happy with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not sure I'd buy it for myself.
Yeah. So there you go. Gift. We've got 2 left. One is not so good, and one is probably not so good, but could be good.
Do the not so good.
The not so good, okay.
And then we'll do the one that you've got more confidence in.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So I brought it up on screen. Immediate reaction from Jay, which is not good. So Firebox, another website that it's similar to GeniCan. It's got gadgets and things like that and silly gifts. This is a toilet piano mat. And as it's described, it is a mat that sits in front of your toilet like a normal kind of, I always call it a pea catcher. They're kind of gross, these things, because essentially they just pick up all the mess that spills out the toilet if you leave the thing open or whatever. But anyway, it's a toilet mat that's right in front of us, a bit of an aside. But if you press on it, it starts to play the keys. So you can actually play music whilst you're going to the toilet. There you go. It's got a little speaker in. It's as you're pressing it, you can just. I think there was a great quote in here. Let me try it. Water repellent mat. Another thing it says. There you go. Told you. And it comes with a songbook and a do not disturb sign. It says learn new songs.
Hearing it from outside the toilet would tell you not to disturb.
That's true. Learn new songs, pass the time, drown out your flatulence. What it says.
Drown out your flatulence.
Play the piano while you poop. Remember to tinkle, but do not sprinkle the ivories. What it says.
I was thinking of it. I was going to make the tinkling the ivories joke. So tell me how much.
It's $15.99, which I actually think is really good for something like this.
I think it's a gift. It's stupid as all hell, but it's in the right price bracket for that kind of, oh my God, that's so stupid. I'll never put that in my actual toilet, but thank you for buying me that funny thing I can show friends when they come round. It's one of those things that I think it's a good gift. I actually bought something similar for a friend of mine a couple of years ago. It wasn't a music-related toilet gift.
Yeah.
But he was renowned for spending quite a long time on the toilet. So I got him toilet golf. So it was basically a little putting green and a little mini golf club and ball that you could put while sat on the toilet that went around the toilet. So I think there's a lot of fun to be had. Toilet humour tickles me, and I like the idea. For £15, I think that's a good gift. I would find that funny, and it's absolutely something I'd buy for somebody else. I would never buy it for me. That's probably fairly obvious. You're unlikely to be buying that for yourself, but as a funny gift for a friend, yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah, I'd agree. You're not going to buy that for yourself. I'd 100% buy this for someone though. I think it'd be quite a funny kind of joke gift. But also, to be honest, I would put it out for maybe a week and just mess about with it, or especially over Christmas if you got family over, it's like a funny thing just to have there that people.
Nan's been gone for ages.
She's playing chopsticks on the toilet.
She's just there like.
Oh God. But there you go. So I think it's a gift. I'm gonna vote gift for that one.
I agree. So have you saved the best till last, or just something till last?
I think this could potentially be the best till last.
Okay.
But we shall see. I'm gonna bring it up on screen. We've got it's a remote control car.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a remote control. It's actually quite expensive. It's from AliExpress, which does not fill me with confidence. But it's a remote control car that has a camera that sits on top of it. And the idea of this is it's a very small one as well. It's very trying to get the dimensions actually. It's a very small device. I'd say the size of like a mouse, probably smaller than a mouse in fact, like a desk mouse. But not only does it have a camera on it, it has the ability to cast the camera to a device that you can also buy with this, which is basically a VR headset. So you can have the headset on and you can drive it around and you can be basically, like 2 inches tall, riding around in your little RC car across the floor and racing with your friends. It's got kind of Mario Kart vibes. The videos I've seen, the reason I saw this is Linus Tech Tips did, on their short circuit channel, did a review of it. And I've actually got some video footage that I'll bring up as well to show you kind of what it looks like when they're playing it. But
I have seen that exact video.
Have you?
So as soon as that appeared, I went, oh, I know where he's found that. I think from memory they were reasonably impressed with it, although the video quality in the headset was pretty poor. I think they said.
Yes.
But they're quite nippy, quite fast, surprisingly well equipped little cars. I mean, as you've seen on the video now, if you're watching on YouTube, they've got lights and all sorts of stuff in them.
Turn signals.
Yeah, I think they're really cool. I can't remember how much they were. I know that you could buy it in stages, so you could just buy the car, then the camera was that add-on, and then the VR headset was another add-on again. So yeah, I'd probably want the total package, but I'm curious as to the cost.
That's a good question. It said $130 on this one, but I'm not sure which package that comes with. This does look like it comes with. Yeah, it comes with the full package.
It's got everything, doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah, so about $140.
I mean, that's quite a lot of money for a gimmicky gift.
It is.
But if But it's
I don't
also
know,
quite
though.
a cool gift. I think it depends. If you've got someone, well, I was going to say if you've got someone who's a remote control enthusiast, I actually don't think that would be for them because they'd probably just go, why have you bought me this? I've got much better remote control cars. This is probably for that sort of tech nerd enthusiast in your house that doesn't have remote control cars but loves anything techie and a bit weird.
Yeah.
If someone bought me this, I'd be like, that's really cool. Let me play with it.
Yeah.
I think I'd be upset if I found out they spent over £100 on it. I don't think that I would. But then, if you consider what's in the box, you've got a VR headset, albeit probably quite cheap and cheerful. You've got your remote control car, the camera, all the things that it can do, the remote control. There's quite a lot in the box for the money.
There is.
It's just a lot of money for something that I don't think you get a huge amount of use out of. I must admit, I've had in the past a number of different miniature remote control cars. I've never been particularly big into this space, but I always buy them whenever I see them do a Mario Kart. I'll buy it. I've got lots of different sized Mario Karts. Don't know why I'm obsessed.
Nice.
So I've got the one. I've got the one that came out for the Switch. Do you remember that one? A couple of years ago.
Oh, I think you showed me that actually when you were.
Yeah, so that similar kind of concept really, except for the Switch is your interface. So this one has a camera mounted to Mario on the Mario Kart. Obviously, it's much bigger than that one. And then you can set up tracks and race it around the house, and you can see through Mario's eyes effectively, and drive through the Switch. That's great fun. But I'll be honest, it's been out probably twice since I had it a few years ago.
Yeah.
And not since. So, they don't get a lot of use in this house, remote control cars. I've had miniature ones in the past, but not one quite as well tech stacked as this one. Although I almost wonder whether you'd prefer to pay maybe another 100 or so on top for a more refined experience, because by all accounts, the image quality was really poor on the headset.
True.
They're quite bulky headsets.
They are. I don't know. I think when I watched the video, I wasn't that excited about it until it started to show the footage, and I was like, yes, okay, the quality isn't great, and it gives me like 90s home camera footage vibes, which actually I really, really like. It almost adds to it, and I think they even said that in the video.
Yeah.
It adds to the nostalgia, and just the fact that you can be racing around on the floor, and you might even have a buddy who has the same device. You could race each other and crash into each other and all of that. Or I was just thinking you could mess around with the cats, get the cats chasing you around the floor, which would be hilarious as well. So this is the footage for those watching on YouTube. It is grainy, it's a bit bouncy, but I actually love it. I think it looks really cool. I would be ecstatic if someone got me this.
If it was under my tree on Christmas morning, I would not complain. I would be very happy with it. I just don't know whether I would consider it. I don't know. It's a good gift. It is a good gift. It's a lot of money to spend on something that I think is not going to get a lot of use. But if I received it, I would probably have a mess around with it and enjoy it. It's one of those things that probably come out when friends came over. I'd go, oh, look, have you seen this? Put this headset on. And then, but that's how I use most of my VR headsets, to be perfectly honest.
True.
They don't come out until someone comes around, then I show them how VR works. I don't ever put them on to play myself. I think that's a gift. I would give that a gift.
I think that's a gift too. I agree. And there you go. I think that's all I had on my list. And just up on time as well. Gone over a little bit as we always do. But yeah, that was a fun one actually. A good mix of rubbish ones and good ones as well. And yeah, feel free to add in the comments whether you thought any of them were gifts. I want to see the staunch, what was it, the fans of the bin, the GeniCan.
I want to see the GeniCan owners come out in force and tell us how great that product is and how it's revolutionised their shopping process.
Absolutely, it's the future. It's the future. Right, well, we'll leave that there. That's all for today's episode. Thank you for hanging out with us, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube, and subscribe on all good podcasting services as well, so you don't miss an episode. But yeah, we'll see you next time.